Hi, and welcome to Alaskan in the Philippines, currently in Hue Hin, Thailand. Thought I'd give you all a few updates on the monkey situation. Yesterday I had a monkey eating out of the trash right in the condo right over here next to my room. I didn't see it, but when I came up there was two guys standing there, said they just ran and I didn't know if it was still there. Well, after making the video, I went downstairs and was walking out, and the guard was walking out with a big long bamboo, about a 4-foot bamboo pole, about that big around. I says, "Monkey?" He don't speak English. "Monkey?" He said, "Yeah." I go, "Where'd it go?" He goes, "Up the side of the building," climbed right up the side of the, but I guess it took off. He chased it out of the building. It was actually in the building terrorizing the garbage cans or whatever, but he's gone. And then also I had another guy in the comments mentioned that big lizard I saw the other day, that would be a monitor lizard. And yeah, he's right. That's what I saw, a big dragon thing going by. It was pretty cool. But anyway, yeah. And another thing, it's rained again today. I'm rained out of my morning walk 3 days in a row after 3 months of no rain. Now we have rain 3 days in a row. 3 nights anyway. It starts up at night. It quit yesterday, but started up. But yeah, it looks like all day again. So I think it's kind of strange for this time of year. It's not supposed to get quite this much rain yet, I think. I don't know. We'll see. I liking it though, soaking everything good. But anyway, in today's topic, I thought I'd talk about some things I miss in Alaska. After living here for 7 months, or in Asia 7 months, 2 months in the Philippines, and 5 months here, I guess. Coming up on 6 months here, I think, soon. And I thought I'd mention some of the things I miss, and it's kind of hard to miss things, but there are things that I grew up with that I do miss. First off, I miss my daughters. I have 2 daughters, and I actually have a bunch of step kids. I've had kids that, my daughter's brothers and sisters, and she's got like 5 brothers and sisters, and I got they're half sisters and brothers. She grew up with them, they're brothers and sisters. And then I have foster kids. I fostered a few kids, and one of those they kept in contact after they grew up and stuff. They'd still come by and visit, and they kind of missed me when I moved too, so I keep in contact with one of those anyway. But that was always fun to have the kids around. But yeah, those are one of the things I miss. And I'd have to say after that, then the first thing, if I could bring one thing here to Thailand, because I live right on the beach here, oh man, it would have to be my boat. I got an 18-foot Lund. I have another couple fishing boats, a 24-footer, but I don't really need that here. That would have been cool here too, maybe, but it's too big to deal with. But here I have in Alaska, I have an 18-foot Lund with just a 40-horse Honda. It don't burn much gas. It gets up and goes really fast. You don't need a big motor. This little 40 Yamaha, they don't burn hardly any gas, and that thing just flies with that 40. It goes real fast, so it's a great running around boat. I used to go hunting and fishing in it all the time, just playing around anything. On the river, I lived right on the river, so I was zipping around all over the place. So yeah, my boat would probably be the first thing I'd bring. The second thing I'd bring would be my 4-wheeler. I had a Honda 350 Rancher 4-wheel drive, 4-wheeler, ATV, you guys call them. We call them 4-wheelers in Alaska. But yeah, that thing would be perfect for ripping around. And I don't know why they're not more popular in Asia. You can haul a bunch of stuff on them. You can load those things up with all kinds of, and it's handy around the homestead. You can drag logs, you can pull your boat up. That's what I'd use it for too. If I had it here, I'd keep my boat on the beach, and I'd need to pull it up off the beach to get it up out of the tide. I'd use my Honda, just like I do in Alaska. I lived right on the beach in Alaska, and I just kept my Honda right there. If I need to pull my boat up, it had a loop. I just hooked the rope and pull it right up. No problem. So it was a nice situation. So yeah, those are one of my boat and my 4-wheeler. And I do have a nice truck. I would like to have that here too. It's a nice truck. F-150. It's the full long bed, but it's a limited. It's got the bigger tires and a lift kit on it. It was a nice truck, a V8, 1991, I think. It runs great. It's got power, 4-wheel drive, works good and everything. But keep in mind, I left all this stuff to my daughter, so she's got everything set up in turnkey operation. For a lot of it's not disrepair, but getting old. A lot of my equipment was old, but I was able to keep it running by doing maintenance on it. And some of those old machines, they're good machines, you just need to keep working on them. And that's what I did, save myself buying a new snow machine for 10, 15,000. They're expensive now. You can't get them cheap. I don't need a snow machine here, so those could stay. But another thing I would grab, if I could just teleport some article, it would be my freezer full of food. I grew up in Iowa 20 years, but then I was still a dumb kid. When I moved to Alaska, I didn't know nothing. It was like I had to grow up all over again, really. I did. It was so different and such a different culture, and all my friends I met were my age, and they were doing their youthful things, and I had to learn it all. It was me learning how to walk all over again, practically learning to live out in that environment in a different culture like that. So it was interesting, but I took right to it. But yeah, and then the thing in my freezer is the food, the native foods. I've grown accustomed to the foods. A lot of the foods, you guys wouldn't eat them. You'd turn your nose up quickly at stuff we eat. But that stuff now that I've eaten it my whole life, I crave it, So in my freezer, I'd have it full of moose. I'd have a lot of moose meat, which is good meat. You guys would like the moose, I'm sure of that. And the salmon, I'd have it loaded up with salmon, whole salmons and stuff. And then there's a waterfowl. I used to load it up with waterfowl, ducks, geese, swans, cranes, and then different weird things, like I'd put away fish heads and stuff, or smoked dry fish. We have dry fish, and we'd put buckets of that away, dried. That don't need freezer. I'd just grab a bucket of that on my way out the door. But yeah, I had like herring eggs, the herring eggs on kelp and stuff. There's a lot of native foods that they eat, that seal oil and stuff. And I'd have whale oil, and I dip food in whale oil and stuff, and it's good. I like it in my soup and meats and stuff. You'll dip meat on whale or seal oil. Seal oil is the most popular. The poor people eat the whale oil, but I like both. So yeah, and seal, I like seal meat, and then there'd be all the ptarmigan and grouse and stuff. It was quite a variety diet of natural wild foods that are really healthy for you, and really they're strong flavored, like a wild goose got a really kind of a strong flavor, and you have to get used to that. A lot of people, when they eat it, it's too gamey, that's what they say about a lot of the wild meats. The people who get deer meat or whatever, it's too gamey. But no, the gamey part is because you shot it at the wrong time of the year. You get your food at the right time of the year when it's fat and not rutted. You don't want to go out and shoot a rutted bull that's just rut and everything. You don't want that. Eat that meat that's rutted. That's no good. Smells bad and everything. You don't want it. You get it at the right time of year. Goes with all animals, even beef. You don't go out in the rodeo and shoot the bull. They're just been bull riders just been riding. You don't shoot that one and butcher it and expect it to be a good piece of meat to eat. That's just how it works. But anyway, that's one thing I do miss is my native foods there that I normally ate for 42 years. Them I do miss. Although the food here in Thailand is just absolutely excellent, and you couldn't ask for better. And it is better. It is much better. But like I say, I had it so long that I just miss it, And I guess another thing, as long as I'm coming here with my boat, I'd bring my nets and a fishing pole, maybe my dip net, and a couple of gill nets, different size mesh, so I could do some fishing here. I'd go out and set my 6-inch mat and do just like I did back in Alaska. Go give all the food away. I'd go out and catch a sack full of fish, or half-quarter boatload full of fish sometimes. Fill a whole tote full of salmon or something. We come back and pass them out. We give them away. There's no selling fish to the local people there. There's no fish market. Everybody that catches fish gives them away. They never sell one, never. But there is a commercial fishery. We do fish and sell to the fishery. But in town, you'd never hear of anybody taking a dime for a fish or asking for one. They'll give you a 30-pound king salmon that's on the market's worth 85 a pound. I seen it sell for 85 a pound in Seattle, and they'll give them to you. It's all gifted. Meat and fish is always gifted in the villages. It's never sold. You give you a whole quarter of moose meat, it's 100 pounds of meat here free, Nobody ever takes a dime for it. Some of the old tradition was to give you something in return. So they do that. Like sometimes I'd bring old women some geese or something to their husbands, widows or something. They miss the foods like I'm missing, and they'll try to give me a box of shotgun shells or homemade bread or something. They always try to give you something back because it was the tradition, but it's never expected, and I never did expect it. And all of them don't do it, and I used to never do it. I'd give them something sometimes, but yeah, passing out the food was always it's kind of a heartwarming thing to do, I'd pass out meat and fish and everything I'd catch at certain times of the year, and kept a net all through winter. And to give someone a fish in the middle of the winter when everything's frozen, that's a big treat to somebody, to give them a nice big she-fish or something. So I enjoyed doing that. If I could do it, I'd bring my boat here, my nets, and I'd catch some of these sea bass. I know right where to set my net, and I'd catch just enough to pass out to some of the local people here that would want to. That would be my thrill to do it anyway. But yeah, that would be something I'd like to have, my nets and my boats and my four-wheeler, and I'd be set up pretty good then. And if I had a truck to rip around too, that would be cool. Actually, I'd like if I could again, my chickens. I like my chicken coop. I had fresh eggs. I had some buff Orpingtons, and I bred them, and they would breed and have little chicks, and it was just so cool to watch the mother hen and the little chicks following around the yard. I just think that's the most amazing. I could sit there and just watch and just go out in the yard on a beautiful day and just watch them all day long, let them out all day. In the evening, just leave the coop open all day. They're out, and in the evening they all go back into the coop, go and collect the eggs, shut the coop, and feed them, make sure their water's good. I get chickens, and that's fun. And also my beehives. I was a beekeeper for about 10 years. I raised honeybees. In Alaska, it's really challenging. And overwintering them too, I really had to think months and months ahead, just really had to prep them, and they died a lot, but it was so fun. I used to just love to sit up I had them up on the side of the mountain up above my house, and I could look out over the river, the whole Yukon River, and it's about 2 miles wide. And you could see for 50 miles, and mountains and all that. It's just beautiful. Sit up there and watch my bees coming and going. I really it was so peaceful just to sit and watch them. I would sit up on that hill, cup of coffee or a cup of tea or something, all morning long, watching the waterfowl go over, the cranes and the swans, and watching my bees coming and going. If it was cold and in the warm day in the spring, I'd run up to my beehives and watch and wait, and hopefully they'd come out and survive. And when they did, it was a sight to behold. My bees survived 7 months in a box up on the hill in 40 below weather. It was a cool thing just for me, to do it, And then you get the honey out of it at the end. And the fireweed honey was the best honey in the world. It's probably some of them next to the Manuka Australian honey, which is blown way out of proportion. This fireweed honey is probably the most expensive, best honey I've ever eaten. And everybody I ever gave it to said the same thing. It's the best honey they ever had. But anyway, yeah, if I could have my beehives, my chicken coop, my boat, my nets, my fishing pole. I ain't gonna forget my fishing pole. Excuse me. I had a fishing pole I could use, I actually bought one and left one in the Philippines. I have a fishing pole in the Philippines. In Dumaguete, I left it there with a friend. I used it a few times. I had some bites, but I didn't catch one. I had the wrong lures and bait. When I came back, I brought some tuna lures and stuff, but they confiscated them in Cebu Airport. They sharp object. It made it all the way there, but couldn't get there. But anyway, yeah, those are some of the things I miss. I really don't miss the snow. I really don't miss the cold. I like warmth. I always have, and I don't miss chopping wood and all that. And I pretty much have everything I need here. I really don't miss any of that so much that I want to go home, and I can anyway because I gave everything to my daughter. I walked out with her. I signed it over to the house, the trucks, the boats, everything. The only thing I have is my salmon permit card yet, and that's so I can fish salmon. If they ever open salmon fishing, I could run back to Alaska and jump in my boat. I got my nets and all that there. and I could fish if I want to. I probably will just transfer the permit to my daughter and let her do it. I'm just holding on to it for now because they don't know what they're going to do. The season's been closed for like 4 years.